Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer, where we are going to completely dismantle the myth of the simple Pacific island. Today, we're zooming in on Vanuatu. It's this truly profound microcosm of human survival. We're going to dive into how thousands of years of incredible internal resilience have clashed with massive external forces, and what that actually means for our world today. Let's get into it.
So when you hear the name Vanuatu, right, your mind probably jumps straight to those white sandy beaches, gently swaying palm trees, and just this idyllic, easygoing island life. But as you're about to see, the reality on the ground is far more complex. It's rugged, it's actually pretty dangerous, and its history is shaped by immense, constant turbulence.
To immediately wrap your head around that complexity, just consider this staggering number for a second. 113. There are literally 113 distinct spoken languages packed into just 83 rugged, highly volcanic islands. That density of language and culture, that doesn't just happen by accident. It is the direct result of highly isolated, diverse communities surviving and evolving over millennia.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for tracing Vanuatu's 3,000-year history. First up, beyond the paradise myth. Then, the bizarre dual colony, forging an independent nation, the climate change frontline, and finally, preserving a complex culture.
Section 1. Beyond the Paradise Myth, a microcosm of humanity.
Now, what's genuinely fascinating here is the sheer depth of history we're talking about. I mean, Vanuatu has been continuously inhabited for at least 3,000 years. The ancient Lapita culture, who are famous for their incredibly distinct pottery, they didn't just accidentally stumble onto these islands. They were actively navigating these complex, multi-island systems. We know this because of archaeological finds like the Tiuma site, which revealed over 400 human skeletons, painting a picture of incredibly rich, established societies. These early inhabitants weren't just surviving, they were absolutely thriving, all while enduring constant natural disasters and extreme geographic isolation.
And this quote brilliantly illustrates why this whole thing matters. Vanuatu isn't just some isolated chain of rocks out in the ocean. It's a profound preview of human survival. It shows us exactly how people adapt to deep cultural shifts and constant, unrelenting environmental threats.
Section 2. The bizarre dual colony, the Anglo-French condominium.
This timeline right here traces the rapid disruption of the islands. It kicks off in 1606 with the Spanish explorer Quiros, whose ill-fated arrival basically ended in violence. Jump to 1848 and you have Protestant and Catholic missionaries showing up, aiming to fundamentally alter the indigenous way of life. That basically paved the way for the 1906 condominium, a massive influx of foreign military in 1942, and ultimately independence in 1980.
So you might be wondering, what exactly happened in 1906? Well, the British and the French established what was known as the condominium. But get this, they had vastly different approaches. The British largely limited their administration to trade around Efate, laying claim to roughly 200 islands. The French, on the other hand, went all in on a sprawling, highly extractive plantation economy. They pushed way deeper into the territory, claiming 745 islands. They effectively created this bizarrely divided system, literally two sets of laws, two police forces, and the indigenous people were caught right in the middle, suffering under unjust legislation and a massive loss of land.
Then, World War II brings a completely different kind of wave. 70,000. That's the number of American troops who suddenly arrived to transform the island of Espiritu Santo into a major military base. To put that scale into perspective for you, there was literally one U.S. soldier for every single islander. They brought aircraft, tanks, and this massive influx of foreign culture that just radically and permanently changed the very structure of island society.
Section 3. Forging an independent nation, the 1980 struggle.
The pushback really began in the 1950s with a massive political awakening. By 1968, the Vanuatu Party was formed to lead a unified campaign for independence. But, it wasn't exactly a smooth transition. The late 1970s saw some incredibly tense standoffs, including actual rebellions on the islands of Sanko and Tana, driven by anti-independence factions and pro-French opposition. Yet despite all that, through intense diplomatic and local maneuvering, they officially achieved independence on July 30, 1980.
But I have to share this fascinating historical anecdote with you. The actual handover ceremony, it was an incredibly awkward affair. The colonial officials jealously guarded their traditional protocols, making the whole event drag on unbearably long. It just perfectly revealed this deep reluctance by the colonizers to truly let go of this new independent republic, even while the local population was literally right there, eagerly celebrating with flags, music, and feasts.
Section 4. The Climate Change Frontline,
A modern battle.
Fast forward to today, and Vanuatu unfortunately stands as one of the world's most vulnerable nations to natural hazards. In recent years, massive, truly terrifying storms have battered the islands. We're talking about Category 5 Cyclone Pam in 2015 and Category 4 Cyclone Harold in 2020. And because of the area's geology, these aren't just your average storms. They often create complex double disasters because the subduction of the Earth's plates can literally trigger simultaneous local earthquakes right in the middle of a cyclone.
And the threat is actively compounding. The absolutely terrifying number you need to remember here is 52. Climate models are predicting a 52-centimeter sea level rise in the capital of Port Vala by the year 2100. This is crucial because higher sea levels and warmer ocean temperatures actively multiply the destructive power and alter the unpredictable trajectories of the massive cyclones we were just talking about.
But Vanuatu isn't just playing the passive victim here. They are fighting back hard. They've committed to an incredibly ambitious goal of conserving 45% of their massive marine estate. And they're utilizing their global voice, actively pushing for international accountability by establishing the world's first environmental advocate at the International Court of Justice. They're essentially turning their extreme vulnerability into global climate leadership. It's really inspiring.
Section 5. Preserving a complex culture. Identity in a globalized world. The reality of Vanuatu requires us to completely reject those noble, savage, and simplistic tourist paradise tropes that outsiders love to push. Far from being naive, the Ni-Vanuatu people are actively, expertly navigating modern market economics and political complexities. And they do this by reanimating their past, leaning heavily on those 113 local languages and deep-rooted rituals we mentioned earlier. They use these deep cultural resources as mediators to restabilize their social structures, which just proves that their ancient systems are incredibly adaptable to modern globalization.
Which leads us to a really profound realization. Culture is continually redefined. I'd say this is the ultimate takeaway. Their culture isn't some static museum piece preserved for tourists to look at. It is vibrantly alive. It's constantly adapting to external pressures, environmental threats, and economic shifts, exactly as it has done for 3 millennia.
Which leaves us with a critical and frankly urgent question for our own future. As global climates shift and the pressures of the modern world mount for all of us, what can the rest of the world learn from Vanuatu's 3,000 years of unyielding, highly adaptable resilience? Think about that next time you consider the true complexity behind the paradise myth. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep questioning what you think you know.